I swear, if I see Griffith again, I'm gonna be triggered. Like, I don't give a fuck and all that. That motherfucker, even regardless if it was a fucking flashback of the Golden Age stuff, I get triggered whenever I see that piece of shit like that. It's like, oh, I hate. I mean, hey, I know he'd kill me in a fucking instant, thinking me of that trash and all that, but goddamn, every time I see that man, and every time I think of what he's fucking done to Guts, like Casca, and everyone else in the world and all that, I can't help but I hate that man. And that wasn't even part of the episode. I was like, so we're now supposed to go in with episode 2 of Berserk 2016. So immediately where we last left off with, like, the last episode, now we got to see that we have finally encountered the Holy Iron Chain Knights, which I've got to say and all that, this is where, like, a lot of people were a little bit confused about, like, the whole order thing of what they were doing, since, like, obviously, like, now they're following the order of, like, you know, the manga, this way, you know, they're following stuff. However, though, I can say with the preview, I'm a little bit, like, confused about that, but we'll get into that a little bit later, like, with the story and everything, but it's, like, definitely, I gotta say, like, you know, this, I feel, was a lot of an improvement, like, from the first episode. Surprisingly enough, I felt like there was a lot more 2D scenes, I feel, than it was in the first episode, and, you know, like, I felt like there was, like, a lot more, like, this, like, the CGI in this one looked a little bit better, like, although, like, that's saying, like, you're not supposed to impress them in the first episode with the scenes and everything, but there was one scene that I just couldn't help but laugh, and it's like, when he was going against, like, Azad, and he was, like, facing off against all these Holy Order Knights, which he was like, they're so absolute dog shit, even when this, like, Guts is, like, barely fucking able to move and all that. He's got like half his strength. He's like barely able to lift his sword at this point, and they're still getting owned. There's just a silly moment where he just slides under a bunch of them with his sword, and it just looks so fucking stupid when he's just like dodges the guy, slides through something. That it just looks really like fucking silly like that when they were doing it. But regardless of what and all that, like, he immediately had the plan like to go for us. He just makes one frontal assault, like takes a bunch of the fucking knights down immediately, going straight for like the commander herself and all that, like, and it was like, yeah, you had no fucking chance at all with that shit, because it was like, yeah, and you could clearly see and all that, that wasn't Tharnes that did that at all. You can clearly see, like, you know, like, there was a log or something that came in the way, and immediately it made Guts go on his knee, and, like, you can see he was like, woo, woo, oh, thank God that worked, like that. It's like, so, yeah, there's clearly, you can see that guy Sepulchre behind us, like, you know, he's the fucking real deal immediately. And him being captured like that, all his shit, like, just stripped of him, and he's there, like, immediately, and Tharnes is, like, asking him to repent, and, like, he's like, oh, I'm gonna take you, like, you fucking, like, hot heathen and stuff, and starts, like, whipping him, like, he starts, like, beating the dog shit, and he's like, you can clearly see, like, Gus has gone through, like, some shit where he's like, listen, all that, God's never been around my side and all that, like, you believe in him and in the devil, it's like, you know, oh, he never, like, God never appears in front of us, and it's just like, seeing God, like, Guts, well, obviously, is a sort of character, it's like, you know, like, the shit that I've gone through, and yet this so-called God has never, like, once stepped in my life, like, at all, like, you know, the amount of shit. So, you know, obviously when you can clearly see that it's like, oh, like, he will come to people who truly need him and aid him, and he'll do it, he does it in his own special little way, and it's just like, nah, that ain't the case. But then again, all that is, you know, like, we get to see, like, you know, Guts, he's like, I need to get the fuck out of here immediately, because, like, when it was nighttime, like, and luckily Puck came in for the rescue, like, with the keys, he's like, I need to get out of there, it's nighttime, and the demons and all them are coming, so I need to get the fuck out of here, so I have to go back into that bitch's tent, which, a bit weird, she was there in her room whipping herself in the back and all that to repent to herself, so yeah, she's clearly emotionally troubled. That is the best thing to deal with, that she's just like, she's there with a fucking top off just whipping herself, but yeah, that was the thing about where I was like, yeah, a little weird about that, so a little bit curious about what the fuck was going on with that. I'm sure a lot of you people wanting to know, well, you might have to find out a little bit later. Guts immediately knocks her clean out, just straight up there, and just like, alright, get my gear, get that, using it as a hostage, let's get the fuck out of there. It's just like, yo, burning all the horses so no one else had a chance to get out of there and all that, and it literally goes in. I like Puck's making this thing where it's just like, look, you're an asshole, and like, apologise to the horse. It's just like, Guts looked like he wanted to just kill someone. He's like, really, I've got to apologise to the fucking horse right now. And just a beautiful moment I got to see is like when there was just a poor soldier that came into that tent and he just cracked him square in the fucking jaw. I'm like, this motherfucker, this absolute motherfucker. And we clearly know what Guts' goal is, to get back to Casca, which we saw scenes of her, and yeah, I know a lot of people mentioned it in the opening, but I kind of want to see her a little bit in the anime, which we can see is that, like, especially in that, like whole little flashback that they had as well of the Golden Age, where he went against 100 dudes, is that Casca's a lot more like whitewashed than what she is in the original anime and what she is like, you know, in like the other series in the manga. So I'm very curious about like, you know, why exactly they did that, because if I believe correctly, I haven't personally seen the trilogy movies at all and all that, and I do plan to see them at some point, but I think that's what happened as well in the movies, is that Casca got whitewashed in them. So I'm kind of wondering like, what's really up with that, like that, because like, you know, that never, like, I don't think it's like, did like Japanese people just don't like her like that, like, pretty sure in the manga later on and all that, from what we've seen, she never wants to be like, looks like all like a lot darker, like, you know, lighter than what she originally is. But we get to see right at the end of the episode, like, Guts is escaping. Clearly Thanos cannot see like Puck at all, so she's clearly like don't believe in any of those spirits or anything of that sort of nature. So we'll have to see, you know, if she'll ever see like Puck eventually later on in the series, or what's going to be happening. But Seppuku is right after Guts' tail, and you can clearly see right at the end of the episode, he's like got all those spirits which are clearly after fucking Guts. So yeah, now you got a problem where you got to deal with both Seppuku, who's like seeing all this shit like that. He's like, oh shit, the spirits everywhere, and then you got also all these spirits and demons after Guts, just straight up. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to be happening. But yeah, so far the Holy Iron Chain Knights, there's some weirdos, I can definitely say that. And like, we'll have to see like just Guts making an escape, and you know, definitely from what we can see in the next episode. Oh, like, I'm a little bit confused about like next episode. It seems like they get into a house or something like that. Like I said, I haven't read that part in Berserk in a while, but I'm clearly sure there's something else that's supposed to happen like that. So maybe they might have had to change a scene, which I know a lot of people were probably going to be excited for some reason, and I know it involves a horse in some way, so we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, I haven't seen that material in a while, but every time like Puck was around there, I loved him. He was yucking it up. Guts as well, like regardless of what, like I will always love Guts, like in that, and you can clearly see that there are two things in his mind that he only fucking cares about. One is Casca, the other is fucking killing Griffith. That's the only thing that he cares about like that, apart from Casca, and I can't wait that, like, I hope someday in the manga we get to see him like drive that like fucking Dragon Slayer right into the back of these fucking chests like that. I hope he does that like at some point, but we'll have to wait and see and all that. Like, yeah, again, I still don't care for the ending. I still enjoy the opening for what it is and all that. Like, I still really enjoy it. I think it's got badass fucking like music to it, and like we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, other than that, I still really enjoy it. Like, I don't know like if I should keep like doing scores for Berserk, because I'm really biased with the series. I fucking adore it, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it might be the same thing with like JoJo, where it's like I don't really kind of give scores to JoJo, but when I do, it's normally a 9, 10 sort of thing, where it's like, because I love all of it. And the same thing with like Berserk and all that. Regardless of what of the CGI, I think it was improved in this episode, and there was some stupid stuff in there where it was like a little bonk what you do with his sword, like sliding around, and like frames as well, like you can definitely see it with frames, like it kind of decreased, but like I feel like it doesn't bother me as much as some other people, but I can clearly see when there are like much better looking CGI shows, and the whole reasons why they've been saying like all the anime studios is like, oh well, we're trying to do this to blend in a style of like 2D and like, you know, than CGI, and it's like, no, just, I'd rather you keep to normal animation, but if this is the only way we can get Berserk, fuck it, I'm fine. Just give me more Berserk. I love the content anyway, so just keep giving me quality, alright? So that's all I want. But that's all from me, so thank you much for watching as always. Let me know what you think about the episode of Berserk in the comment section down below. And if you love Berserk as much as I do, then you know where to hit that like, you know where to hit the subscribe. But that's all from me. Thank you much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys though next time.